So the Elon Musk, President Trump, President, Vice President Musk, President Musk, Vice President Trump thing, that show continues. We have an interview on Fox News that aired last night, Tuesday the 18th. And there's more. It's more of the bro show between Trump. I think we're going to get into it. I want to talk about it. I want to discuss it. We're going to look at and react to this actual interview that aired on Fox. And I just think it's crazy that Trump, with an ego such as the Trump ego, is now like almost his appearances are alongside his buddy, the guy. Like, it just seems like from the man standpoint, the boss standpoint, the person being in charge, needing to have somebody sit next to you in the Oval Office and in all these appearances that Musk is doing alongside. Like, Musk is taking a break from Starlink and from SpaceX and all these other things to sit around with Trump and basically help run the government. It's the DOGE thing, but it's got to be more than that, right? It's got to be more than that. Let's get into it. Time to Talk podcast. Welcome. I appreciate you being here. Let's get into this. Let's take a look at this and talk. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe now. Now's the time. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button. We're going to get into it. I want to discuss Musk in the White House again with Trump. Ooh, it's kind of entertaining, right? It's entertaining.
I got to start with this. So he's working for free with DOGE. He's kind of put a lot of his life on hold. And you sued Twitter a number of years ago. You just made him pay you $10 million?
That's right.
That's right.
Well, I sued from long before he had it.
Yeah.
And I mean, they really did a number on me, and I sued and they had to pay, they paid $10 million settlement.
You're okay with that?
I mean, I left it up to the lawyers and the team running Twitter. So I said, you guys do what you think it makes sense.
I think it's fine.
I think it's a very low. I was looking to get much more money than that.
So you gave him a discount in the lawsuit?
He got a big discount. I don't think he even knows about it.
He's become one of your, if you read and believe the media, he's become one of your best friends. He's working for free for you.
Well, I love the president. I just want to be clear about that.
You don't care about that?
I know. I love the president.
You love the president?
I think President Trump is a good man, and he's,
It's nice the way he said that, There's something nice about it.
It really is. Because, the president's been so unfairly attacked in the media. It's really outrageous. And I've at this point spent a lot of time with the president, and not once have I seen him do something that was mean or cruel or wrong. Not once.
I've known him for 30 years.
Yeah.
And I've never seen anybody take as much as he's taken.
Yeah.
And we've discussed.
Yeah, it's got to be friendly, soft interview type of thing with Brett. I mean, Fox News, and again, knows him for 20 years. This is just a love fest is what this is. Like, all you got to do is stick Joe Rogan in a chair there with some Buffalo Trace and a cigar, and the whole thing is complete, right? Musk, defining him as, he's never done anything wrong. The problem, and Trump has taken a lot of heat. Trump has taken a lot. I agree with that. I think the media has been totally unfair to him. I think he is what he is. I think most of it has to do with the way he talks and what he says, right? The way he's not somebody who can communicate ideas in a way that is appealing to most people. He's insensitive, right? He's insensitive. He comes off as just this sort of almost racist, misogynist at times, different ways of saying things when it comes to the immigration policy. Like, he doesn't have a way of communicating an effective idea that everybody can agree with, where you feel comforted by the idea, okay, he's not this crazy guy just trying to come in and be a dictator, right? He's not Hitler. He has some sense of, but he's not a politician, and that's what it is, and that's what they hate about him. And having Musk next to him, I guess, provides that buffer of, here's a guy who can speak relatively. I mean, and Musk is not the most eloquent either, but he's certainly more articulate, and he's way sharper than Trump. So having that level of intelligence and to be able to communicate certain ideas next to Trump is, it is what it is. But this looks like an interview with like Trump and the First Lady, right? Like, it's like this cozy little thing here and the little bro fest, love fest. Let's keep going.
And I'm like, how do you deal with it?
Did I have a choice?
Well, you would say that to me. I'm like, what am I going to do? Worry about it? And, and then culminating in 2 assassination attempts, which resulted in your endorsement.
Well, I was going to do it anyway, but that was
it.
Precipitating event, yes.
That speeded it up a little bit?
Yeah.
The day of the assassination.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It sped it up, but I was going to do it anyway.
Mr. President, with your indulgence, I'm convinced that people only know a little bit about Elon. I don't think they know everything about Elon, because as I studied and prepared for this interview, I learned a lot about you that I didn't know. I think people will think about Tesla. Democrats are demonizing you and trying to make the country hate you. I just want people to understand you a little bit better, and the person that you've gotten to know and have now.
Oh yeah, they hate him now. They used to. He's going to mention that, but the left used to be. He was the guy, the most successful EV company. And again, for those who can't stand Elon and think that translates over into, you have to hate Tesla now. I'm not getting rid of my Tesla. It's probably I've driven nothing but BMW, Lexus, Range Rover. Every car I've ever owned was one of those. I still have the Range Rover Sport, and the Tesla Model Y Performance that I currently own is 2023. Is my favorite car I've ever owned. Out of everything, my favorite car. So it's a great car. But the left, they used to think this guy was, cleaning up the environment. And we can have that whole discussion about green, to what degree do EV manufacturers actually contribute to a cleaner environment because of the actual manufacturing of the batteries and disposal of the batteries over a certain period of time. How does that contribute to global warming and the destruction of Earth and our environment and all those other things? We can have that discussion. But Tesla makes a great product. So separating Elon from that, it is what it is.
Put a lot of trust in.
Yeah.
And, just let's go over a little bit of your bio, starting with PayPal and how you became involved in Tesla and SpaceX and Neuralink and all these.
A while. I mean, I think the way to think of me is like I'm a technologist, and I try to make technologies that improve the world and make life better.
Your shirt.
Yeah, and that's why my T-shirt says tech support, because I'm here to provide the president with technology support. And now that may seem like, well, is that a silly thing? But actually, it's a very important thing, because the president will make these executive orders, which are very sensible and good for the country, but then they don't get implemented. So if you take for example, all the funding for the migrant hotels, the president issued an executive order. Hey, we need to stop taking taxpayer money and paying for luxury hotels for illegal immigrants, which makes no sense.
Right? Who disagrees with that? Left, right, whatever, ladies on The View, whoever you are, you can't disagree with that. A lot of things, I'm going to talk about it when we finish this, but a lot of things, if you heard a lot of these policies being implemented, some of these things that are happening, if you heard them from Biden or you heard them from Harris or you heard them from Obama, let's just say, you would not be so disagreeing with like a lot of these things. You wouldn't be against them.
Like, so obviously people do not want their tax dollars going to fund high-end hotels for illegals. And yet they were still doing that, even as late as last week. And so, we went in there and we're like, this is in violation of the presidential executive order. It needs to stop. So what we're doing here is one of the biggest functions of the DOGE team is just making sure that the presidential executive orders are actually carried out. And this is, I just want to point out, this is a very important thing, because the president is the elected representative of the people. So he's representing the will of the people. And if the bureaucracy is fighting the will of the people and preventing the president from implementing what the people want, then what we live in is a bureaucracy and not a democracy.
No. You're both aware, you have to be keenly aware, that the media and the punditry class, not that, I think you've proven they have no power anymore, because they threw everything they had at you and they didn't win. And that was, the New York Times, Washington Post, 3 networks, every late night comedy show, 2 cable channels. They threw everything, lawfare, weaponization.
Sure.
And now I see they want you two to start, they want a divorce. They want you two to start hating each other. And they try, President Elon Musk, for example. You do know that they're doing that to you.
Oh, I see it all the time. They tried it, then they stopped. That wasn't. They have many different things of hatred. Actually, Elon called me. He said, they're trying to drive us apart. I said, absolutely. They said, we have breaking news. Donald Trump has ceded control of the presidency to Elon Musk. President Musk will be attending a cabinet meeting tonight at 8 o'clock. And I say, It's just so obvious. They're so bad at it. I used to think they were good at it. They're actually bad at it, because if they were good at it, I'd never be president. Because I think nobody in history has ever gotten more bad publicity than me. I could do the greatest things. I get 98% bad publicity. I could do, outside of you and a few of your very good friends, it's like the craziest thing. But you know what I have learned, Elon? The people are smart. They get it.
Yeah, they do, actually.
They get it. They really see what's...
A lot of people don't get it, though, still. And I'm not supporting Trump in any particular... Like, I'm just having a sort of an objective opinion on this and looking at it. But some of the things that, again, going back to the immigration crisis, some of the things that, turning over all of the agencies and things, and, USAID, and finding out where all these things are coming from, NID, the National Endowment for Democracy, and what's really going on in these different arms of the CIA and the State Department, and how much money is being spent, billions of dollars, trillions of dollars of waste. Objectively speaking, anybody can look at that and go, this person is if you ask me to talk about that only and not talk about Trump and whether I like or dislike him or how the message is being communicated to me, I think we can all agree, again, that I support all of that.
What's happening.
Yes.
And at the end of this interview, what I would like is I want people to know the relationship and know more about you. What is the relationship, Mr. President?
Well, I respect him. I've always respected him. I never knew that he was right on certain things, and I'm usually pretty good at this stuff. He did Starlink. He did things that were so advanced and nobody knew what the hell they were. I can tell you in North Carolina, they had no communication. They were wiped out. Those people were, they had rivers in between. Land that never saw water, all of a sudden it was a river and a vicious, like rapids. People were dying all over. They had no communication. They said, Elon Musk? They didn't really know I knew him. I said, yeah. He said, could you get Starlink? It's like the first time I ever heard of it. I said, what's Starlink? A communication system. That's unbelievable.
I have it.
Yeah. And he said, I called him and I said, listen, they really need it. And he got like thousands of units of this communication, and it saved a lot of lives. He got it immediately, and you can't get it. I mean, you have to wait a long time to get it. But he got it to him immediately, and I said, that's pretty amazing, and I didn't even know he had it. We watched the rocket ships, and we watch Tesla. I think, something that had an effect on me was when I saw the rocket ship come back and get grabbed, like you grab a beautiful little baby. You grab your baby.
For a second there, I thought I was going to say something else. Like you grab them by the...
Just
hug the rocket.
I've never seen...
Right, everything needs a hug, including rockets.
And he said, you can't really have a rocket program if you're going to dump $1 billion into the ocean every time you fly. You have to save it.
Right.
And he saved it. First time that I've ever seen that done. Now, nobody else can do it. If you look at the U.S., Russia, or China, they can't do it. And they won't be able to do it for a long time. He has the technology. So you learn, I wanted somebody really smart to work with me in terms of the country, a very important aspect. Because, he doesn't talk about it. He's actually a very good businessman. And when he talks about the executive orders, and this is probably true for all presidents, you write an executive order and you think it's done. You send it out. It doesn't get done. It doesn't get implemented. They don't implement it. Maybe they're from the last administration, and they are in some cases. You try and get them out as fast as you can. But as soon as he said that, I said, that's interesting. You write a beautiful executive and you sign it and you assume it's going to be done, but it's not. What he does is he takes it, and with his 100 geniuses, he's got some very brilliant young people working for him that dress much worse than him, actually.
Yeah,
they dress in just T-shirts. You wouldn't know they have 180 IQ.
Wait a minute. So he's your tech support.
No, he is. But he's much more than that.
I actually am tech support, though. But
he gets it done. He's a leader.
Yeah.
He really is. He gets it done. You get a lot of tech people, and you have people that are good with tech, but he gets it done. I said in real estate, you had guys that would draw beautiful renderings of a building, and they'd draw the rendering. It would be great, and you say, great, when are you starting? but they were never able to get it built. They couldn't get the financing. They couldn't get the approvals. It would never get done. And then you have other guys that are able to get it done. You know, they could just get it done. I was in real estate. Same thing in this. He gets it done. So when he said that, he said, you know, when you sign these executive orders, a lot of them don't get done, and maybe the most important ones. And he would take that executive order that I'd sign, and he would have those people go to whatever agency it was. When are you doing it? Get it done, get it done. And some guy that maybe didn't want to do it, all of a sudden, he's signing. He just doesn't want to be bothered.
Do a lot of those executive orders have to be codified into law?
I was curious when he asked a question about the relationship, you know, or asking about Elon. You know, he went down the path of, you know, ass-kissing Elon, essentially, and saying all these wonderful things about him and how he gets things done. But interesting to see where this goes in terms of Hannity, like, really pressing what is the relationship in the White House. And in other words, like this, you guys, you know, it's sort of unprecedented, right? The idea that someone else is next to the president and is speaking for the president, with the president, alongside the president, on behalf of the president, on behalf of the president's policies and things, or behavior and what the president is doing. I don't think Hannity is going to push that, but I would have liked to have heard more about like this sort of this relationship with this new era in the White House, where we're sitting down with another member of an unelected person of the cabinet per se, and who's having a strong influence, the richest man in the world, obviously. I want to hear more about that.
Need the Republican Congress
and
to follow
will be.
up.
A lot of them will be. Yeah,
they will.
Look, in the meantime, we have 4 years. The beauty is we have 4 years. That's why I like doing it right at the beginning. Because an executive order is great. I mean, the one problem, it's both good and bad. Because when they did all these executive orders, I've canceled most of them. They were terrible. I mean, we're going to go radical left communist. Okay, it was crazy. Their
really crazy.
Executive orders were so bad. If they ever got them codified, you'd never be able to break them. So the damage that Biden has done to this country, and it's not even Biden, it's the people that circled him in the Oval Office, okay?
I think that was gracious, all right, that he pointed out the fact that it's not Biden, you know, it's the deep state, people around Biden and the people actually who run things. Sort of like the same case with him. He's not running things. Don't be fooled.
But the damage they did to this country, in terms of, let's say, open borders, you know, there's so many things, but open borders where millions of people poured into our country, and hundreds of thousands of those people are criminals. They're murderers. They're drug dealers, they're gang members, they're people from prisons from all over the world. And we have a great guy, Tom Homan, and he is doing so incredibly. You saw the numbers, they're now like 96%.
95%.
He is a phenomenal guy. And Kristi Noem is doing an unbelievable job. And he wanted her, he said, she's so tough. And I said, I don't think of her as that way. You know, she's very nice. He said, no, she's so tough. And she is. I see with the horses, she's riding the horse. Let's go. She's great. But the team we have is really unbelievable. But those executive orders, I sign them, and now they get passed on to him and his group and other people, and they're all getting done. We're getting them done.
Let me go back a little bit to your background, because it's beyond impressive. You were the chief engineer, for example. You were an early believer in Tesla. You became the CEO.
Before he even starts, it's got to be a thing for Trump. You could see it in his face somewhat. It's got to be a thing for Trump to sit next to a guy like that. First of all, he's the richest man in the world. You know, he trumps Trump in so many ways that it's got to be nerve-wracking. And you know this is just a matter of Elon's the richest man in the world, and he's purchased his place in the government, and Trump can't do anything about it. I don't think, because it's got to be painful for him to sit there next to a guy. Trump barely concedes to anything. Like, Trump considers himself, I beat Tiger Woods, I'm better than Tiger Woods. Probably nobody's better than I am at everything. Sitting next to a man like Musk, again, love him or hate him, we're talking about his IQ, we're talking about his intelligence, his ability to execute, and his ability to create companies and to do things that are just extraordinary, right? Again, love him or hate him, his personality or what influence he has or what his agenda is. Let's just talk about what he's accomplished and obviously how brilliant he is. Trump sitting next to that level of brilliance, that level of a person that clearly outshines him, has got to be rubbing his suit the wrong way and ruffling the feathers of his blonde, white mane, whatever he's got going on there. It just has to. And it's hard when you've got Hannity, continually saying, "Oh, you're so brilliant," and "Oh, you're this and you're that," and Elon, you're extraordinary. That's got to be hurting Trump. I'm sorry, it has to be.
And then the chief engineer, which was phenomenal. SpaceX, same thing, which is unbelievable. I mean, you were the first private company to send astronauts successfully into space, first private company to send astronauts into orbit.
Yeah.
That's pretty deep.
He's going to go into orbit soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, he's going to go to Mars. He's
Starlink
At some point. Huh? Yeah.
is in over.
They was asking me, like, do you want to die on Mars? And I say, well, yes, but not on impact.
Starlink is in 100 countries. This is going to be hard. I feel like I'm interviewing two brothers here.
You go ahead.
Star Shield, which could be used for national defense.
Yeah, it is already being used for national defense.
Then you have what is it called? Optimus, a part of Tesla.
The robot, yeah.
A robotic arm. Then you have an AI arm. And then you have something that really fascinated me. And it's called Neuralink.
Yes.
You might help the blind to see,
yes,
and people with spinal cord injuries that they can recover, where in the past, how close is that becoming a success?
Neuralink, we've implanted Neuralink in 3 patients so far who are quadriplegics, and it allows them to directly control their phone and computer just using their mind, just by thinking. It's like, so we call this product telepathy. So you control your computer and phone just by thinking, and it's possible to actually control the computer and phone faster than someone who has working hands. Then the next step would be to add a second Neuralink implant past the point where the neurons are damaged, so that somebody can walk again, and so they can have full body functionality restored. And
you like Bobby, right?
I like Bobby, actually. Yeah, I think I supported Bobby Kennedy. I think
that was Trump's way of diverting the conversation to something revolving around him, because he picked Bobby Kennedy to be head of HHS, right? So that's what that was right there. If you see that, don't go too far down this thing with Neuralink and all your accomplishments and all the genius shit you've done. Let's kind of circle back to, oh, you like Bobby too, right? I picked him. I'm the one that picked him.
He's unfairly maligned as someone who is anti-science, but I think he isn't. He just wants to question the science, which is the essence of the science. The scientific method fundamentally is about always questioning the science.
Well, they didn't tell us the truth about COVID.
Correct.
That's for sure.
Yes.
And we learned a lot with the Twitter files. And that just then raises a question. You're the richest man in the world. You may not like that part. You're pretty competitive.
It's neither here nor there.
I've known you a long time. But
that's why.
But he's on your team. Well, that's true. He can't top that.
He's good. I wanted to find somebody smarter than him. I searched all over. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
You really tried hard.
I couldn't find anyone smarter, right? So we had it for the country.
But this is the thing.
We settled on this.
Well, thanks for having me.
So
I'm just trying to be useful.
This is the interesting. This is where we are as a society, and I hate to do this to you, but I'm going to do it anyway. You're doing all of these things. Nobody at DOGE gets paid a penny, correct?
Well, actually, some people are federal employees.
Some are, okay.
Yeah,
they're helping.
But it's fair to say that the software engineers at DOGE could be earning millions of dollars a year, and instead of earning a small fraction of that as federal employees.
Okay, so
and they're very committed people.
So
yes.
You're committed to helping the blind see, people with spinal cord injuries recover.
Yes.
You're committed to getting to Mars. You're committed to rescue. You're going to help rescue next month 2 astronauts that I think were abandoned. They dispute that in an interview.
At the president's request or instruction, we are accelerating the return of the astronauts, which was postponed kind of to a ridiculous degree.
They got left in space.
They've been there.
I didn't know about this. I gotta look that up. Forgive me. I didn't even know about the astronauts being. I knew they were up there. I knew there was some mission or something, but I didn't know they were abandoned or what that whole deal was here. What they talk about. You guys know about that? Let me know in the comments.
They were supposed to be there 8 days. They're there almost 300.
Biden.
Yes, they were left up there for political reasons, which is not good.
Okay, it's not good. Now, if I had the weight of the pressure of doing that successfully on my shoulders, I think I'd be But when we spoke before we did this interview, you are very confident. You think this will be a successful mission.
Well, we don't want to be complacent, but we have brought astronauts back from the space station many times before, and always with success. Mm-hmm. So, as long as we're not complacent.
When are you going to launch?
I think it's about 4 weeks to bring them back.
About 4 weeks?
Yeah.
And
we're being extremely cautious. Yeah.
You now have the go-ahead.
Yes. Well, thanks to you.
They didn't have the go-ahead with Biden.
What's that?
He was going to leave him in space. I think he was going to leave him in space.
Well, it's like we were growing up, lost in space.
Yeah, he didn't want the publicity. Can you believe it?
Unbelievable. And so I want to echo something that the president said and then ask an overarching question. So people get hit with Hurricane Helene. They have no communication with the outside world. You come to the rescue. You donated that, I believe?
Yes.
Okay. You donated to the people.
He saved a lot of lives in North Carolina. He saved a lot of lives.
And California after the wildfires?
California, but I mean in North Carolina where they were really in trouble, they had no communication. People were dying. They were dying of starvation. He saved a lot of lives in North Carolina.
Okay. Now you're going to rescue astronauts. And now, and again, you do all of this. I would think liberals would love the fact that you have the biggest electric vehicle company in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be adored by the left,
Yeah, not anymore.
Less so these days.
He killed that, huh?
I mean, less so.
I really didn't know.
Well, I mean, this whole sort of like, they call it like Trump derangement syndrome. Yeah. And I didn't, you don't realize how real this is until like you can't reason with people. So like I was at a friend's birthday party in LA, just a birthday dinner, and it was like a nice, quiet dinner, and everyone was behaving normally. And then I happened to mention, this is before the election, like a month or two before, I happened to mention the president's name. And it was like they got shot with a dart in the jugular that contained like methamphetamine and rabies, okay? And they're like, wow! And I'm like, what is wrong? Like, guys, like, you can't have like a normal conversation. Yeah. And it's like they become completely irrational.
He has no idea, but if you're friends with him, you pay a price. It's like I walk in a restaurant in New York and it's like half the room it's daggers and they want to.
No, the eye daggers level is insane. Yeah. I mean, there was like I had like some invitation because I got invited to basically a big sort of damn event like that was, but I received the invitation like the beginning of last year, and I still attended even after I'd endorsed President Trump, and I didn't realize how profoundly that would affect how I was received. I mean, I walk into the room and I'm getting just the dirty looks from everyone. Like, if looks could kill, I would have been dead several times over.
But that was not before Trump.
BT, ashes on the floor.
Before Trump, that never happened, right?
No.
Exactly. Look, here's the deal. If Musk, the Trump derangement syndrome thing, right? Let's talk about that. If Musk, let's say Harris had won the election. Let's say Musk supported her. Musk put his money behind her, and Musk was on the campaign trail with her. Everybody be buying Teslas. You can't convince me that it would not be the case. Every black person, black woman, would be looking into Tesla right now, buy Tesla. Nobody would be hating Elon if Elon was sitting in the White House next to Kamala Harris, talking about the same exact strategies and the same plans. The immigration situation, DOGE. If DOGE was in place and Kamala Harris was there in the White House and they were turning over all these different agencies and they were defunding things and shutting things down and trying to make the government work more efficiently, and they were trying to save the taxpayers money. We were trying to disengage from certain wars abroad and trying to do things economically, responsible, and Elon Musk happened to be part of that, he'd be the darling boy of the country right now, of the world. You wouldn't be hating the man. You only hate Musk because of his alignment with Trump. And it's hilarious to me. I'm not defending Musk in terms of saying, oh, he's perfect. He doesn't have his own agenda as a, again, richest man in the world, that he hasn't nuzzled up to Trump and into politics for a particular reason to serve his own interest. I'm not claiming that the man has a perfect history and perfect character and he's for the working class. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying the things that he's been tasked to do with DOGE is something we can all get behind, whether you're blue, red, left, right, center. It doesn't make a difference. And to hate the man because who he's next to and who he's supporting, yeah, I guess, in the company you keep. If you're looking at it from the perspective of, I can't stand Trump, Trump is going to ruin the country, so Musk must be part of that, well, maybe there's a point that could be made there. But so far I haven't seen anything that is so outlandish that Musk is doing that would warrant that level of hatred and vitriol that's being pushed against him, and this instant demanding of Musk being removed, and somehow he shouldn't have his nose in the business of, this is great fodder for the ladies at The View, right? For them, it's like constant, they've got something to say about this man. But again, I can guarantee you, had Harris won the election and Musk was part of that, everybody would be applauding him. So there's no rational basis for hating Musk other than what he's doing, the fact that he's alongside Trump. Because if he was alongside Harris, Tesla sales would go up in the black community. Period. Point blank. And look, this whole thing it's the last thing. I want to end on this one last thing. This whole thing with billionaires and money being in the White House and influencing presidents and influencing politics. I can't, we have a history in this country where the rich, the elite, going back in the day with, John Jacob Astor, James Fisk, Leland Stanford, Rockefeller, all the robber barons, right? They all had their own interest, right? Carnegie, they all had their interests, and it was all, rooted in capitalism and doing this and all these. They all had their hand in the government to handle certain contracts, whether it was for steel or railroads or whatever it was, to get things done. There's a article in Gulf News that talks about when billionaires throw money to influence U.S. elections. Billionaires are behind the campaign for Harris. You had Bloomberg, you had Soros, I believe you had Gates. You had a ton of people. A handful of billionaires are helping Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump's respective campaigns. There's a whole bunch of tech billionaire Peter Thiel supports Donald Trump, while Michael Bloomberg and George Soros back U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris. The only difference here, the thing that I keep pointing out to you, and the thing you need to look at, the only difference is that this is the first time in history where the billionaire guy, the guy behind the scenes who's orchestrating a whole lot of moves for the government in his own particular interest, some of it, it's the first time you're seeing it happen. It's the first time you're seeing him sit down in the White House with a president and speak on behalf of these things that are happening, right? If you look at the history, we can look at a ton of billionaires that all had their hands in the government and all had influence, extreme influence on United States policy, right? Charles and David Koch, the Koch brothers, Michael Bloomberg. I'm just going to go through a list. Tom Steyer, Sheldon Adelson, before he passed away. Now you got Miriam Adelson, his widow, who funded I think it's $200 million to Trump for Israel. Rupert Murdoch, Fox News, John Joe Ricketts, Robert Bob Mercer, Paul Singer, Peter Thiel, again with Planeteer. George and Jonathan Soros, right? John and Laura Arnold, Bill and Melinda Gates, the family of late Peter Lewis, Mark and Priscilla Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett, Bezos, Jeff Bezos, right? James Simmons, David Geffen, Penny Pritzker, Mark Andreessen, Peter Peterson, Alice Walton. These are all people who've had their hands in government and been aligned with presidents and people in politics to affect policy that basically affect the United States, affect citizens and taxpayers. You just didn't see them previously. They weren't in black boots and a jacket with a hat and a cool t-shirt sitting next to the president in the office doing press conference with the president. They were behind the scenes quietly. They donated their money. They implemented whatever they wanted to get done. They got it done. You're just seeing it now, so you're pissed about it. and you're thinking this is some crazy new thing that's happening. Whoa, what's going on here? An unelected official, a billionaire being part of the White House and having an effect on the presidency and having an effect on us. This is crazy. It's not crazy. It's happened throughout the history of the country. Understand that. Elon is just the guy that's going to be hated on because he's aligned with the guy that you don't like. Get over it. Anyway, Time to Talk Podcast. Subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. I appreciate when you subscribe. Definitely hit the like button on the way out. That really makes a big difference because YouTube has all these magical things that happen in the background. So you got to hit like and hit the comments below. I'd like to hear from you. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this alignment with Trump. And as this show continues to roll on, let me know what you think of that. And let me know if you think Trump is actually like secretly like just pissed. Because I think that this has to be something he's not comfortable with, but he's had to acquiesce to. He's had to accept the fact that this is the way it's going to be. I don't think this is Trump is orchestrating these meetings, or he wants Elon there, or he's trying to purposely not have the spotlight. I don't think that's the case. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Subscribe. Again, I appreciate it. Hit the like button. I'll see you on the next Time to Talk podcast. Peace.